And it hit 2. How many minutes are you going to sit and wait for a human being to pick up the phone at the other end? We're so accustomed to this. This is the world that we compete in. This is where we live. We don't even notice it anymore. We just fully expect this stuff. That's where the lesson is. That's where the value is. Because what about you? And what about me? What about, I'm sorry, I'm not George Clooney and you're not Angelina Jolie and I'm not Charlie Sheen. We can't go into places of business and be instantly recognized and validated. People do not run up to you when you enter their hotel, their store, their place of business just to bask in the glow of your awesomeness. We're totally invisible. We're complete creatures of habit. We're not going to cover ourselves with war paint like this guy. Most of us aren't willing to do that. Let me just give you a little quick history of what you're looking at here, because I'm sure some of you are curious. First of all, you want customers like this. You might as well aim high, but you're never going to have customers like this, but that's the story for another time. What do you see across his shoulders? Harley-Davidson logo, the corporate symbol burned into his skin. This is not a recent phenomenon. This goes all the way back to World War I. People burning Harley-Davidson name into their skin. That is the most recognized tattoo in the world. I've seen millions. I've been around the world more times than I can count. I've probably seen millions of tattoos, but I've never seen one for Burger King. There's Bill and Walter and Arthur Davidson and their pal Bill Harley. And this guy's a walking history lesson for the motor company. Bicycle makers and pattern makers up the road in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, that wanted to take the effort and cost out of bicycling and horses. The two primary modes of transportation during the last century were bicycles and horses. What do you think the inherent problem with those two things are? There's no road system, so bicycling is difficult. You're essentially riding on cattle paths or animal paths that are filled with the exhaust from the horses. Unpleasant. Horse is expensive, bicycle is difficult to pedal. They said, well, why don't we put a motor on a bicycle, take the effort out of the whole thing. You can pedal it. When you get tired of pedaling, engage the motor, put a motor on a bicycle, you got a motorcycle. So there you go, 1902. In the middle of the back there, Bill Bartha's back here, you see that beautiful the shed there in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, where that first motorcycle was made, hammered out, and then the right bunch there, you see his own late model. Boy, this is a pretty cool guy. I wish I had brought the front photo of him. You could see Ryder Dickerson across the front. I'm serious, too. What was our takeaway from all of that? Our takeaway from this is that we are all invisible. And the problem with being invisible is it gets us trapped in the same never-ending cycle of faceless, nameless, emotionless, totally non-memorable transactions that the people that we serve are trapped in. Trust me on this. Pull out a pen and pad of paper on Monday at lunch and write down an account for every dollar that you had just spent over the weekend. There's not a person in this room who can do it, because it doesn't mean anything to spend money anymore. We have so many transactions over the course of a given week that it doesn't mean anything to us. God forbid you're selling business to business. You're selling to people who buy for a living. Think how many transactions they have. Faceless, nameless, emotionless transactions that we don't even remember. What we found at Harley and learned the hard way is that anytime we made a visible with a big honking capital V, big visible effort to lift somebody up out of their invisible existence for a few short seconds of their life, something very, very positive happened. When we gave visibility to people who have none, they felt good about themselves. And when you feel good about yourself, what's the first thing you're going to do? You're going to tell other people about the source of your joy. We didn't know this. We weren't smart enough to know this. This was about to unfold for us. We found that if we use the dull, lifeless, meaningless, totally non-memorable language of business, we were killing ourselves. How many people every day use the language of business? Buy from us, we stand for quality. Our commitment to customer satisfaction is unparalleled in our industry. Puff, puff, puff. We've got a vision of excellence that's going to feature all members of our team focused on value-added activities across all areas of the enterprise. Am I boring the shit out of you yet? I guess I hope so. Puff, puff. The language of business is a business killer. Nobody talks that way ever. Marketing and salespeople sure do, don't they? Because we think we're supposed to. That's how we create demand for what we're doing. Totally counter-human. How do human beings talk? How do we engage human beings? How do we get them to like us? By using the language of life. How does this work? How do we make this work? We are totally backed into a corner. 1985. We had just lost all access to credit. There wasn't a bank in the country that would loan us money anymore. As a result of that, we had to lay off 40% of our workforce the week before Christmas. And a happy New Year. Just abysmally difficult time. We're set to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy on January 2nd of 1986. When you read all these case studies and all these college textbooks out there, and it literally, I bend over, I laugh so hard when I read these things because they all, the employees of Harley banded together and carved out a brilliant strategic plan to lift themselves up from gloom and obscurity to become a market dominator. Complete horse hockey. There's not one element of truth in anything. We had no idea what we were doing. We were a manufacturing company. We believed that, if we built a better product, hearts, minds, and dollars would flow our way. And we're about to learn the hard way just how false that is. We are going to be introducing for the upcoming model year the most innovative, technologically advanced, bulletproof, industry-leading, plug in any marketing language of business stuff you want in front of that, product that we'd ever brought out to the market. This was our holy grail stuff, the result of years of intense focus by empowered employees. I've already had, focused on creating a wonderful new product to bring to market. So we're going to bring this exciting new holy grail motorcycle out to market the way we always have and the way everybody else in our industry does, because we know once people see how good it is, happy days will return. We take 6 motorcycles and put them on a semi-truck and ship them out to Southern California. Southern California and Los Angeles, that's where the 3 major motorcycle magazines were in the United States. We were hoping that they would ride these new motorcycles and write favorable reviews in time for their August launch of the product. So we're looking forward to favorable reviews in their August issues, but I need to tell you this, the motorcycle magazines in the United States by the mid-1980s were staunchly anti-Harley. They believed that we built antiquated product, that we were arrogant, that we were invisible, that we were disgusting, that we pandered to outlaw biker gangs, if you can believe that. But that was the world. That was where we competed. So we have what we think is a miracle. All 3 major mags gave 100% of their August cover real estate to one company, us, which was an incredibly amazing thing because the big 4 out of Japan essentially control about 80% of the advertising in these publications. We couldn't afford to advertise it. They're giving us 100% of the cover. It's never happened since. It'll never happen again. But that's what a shockwave this new thing was. This big, beautiful new motorcycle, especially that big engine. The best V-twin, that's the motor for America, is not built in Japan. The headlines and the subheadlines of these other magazines all read, engine and transmission quality on par or better than anything built anywhere in the world. The new era of Harley-Davidson has begun. Look out, world. Here they come again. Woohoo. God bless America. Invest your money in American iron. We couldn't believe this. Wow, the toughest critics in the world are saying our bike is the one to own. We sent postcards to every registered motorcyclist in the United States, America, and Canada that essentially said, look, the toughest critics in the world have to say about our new motors. Come on down to the dealership, let's go put some miles on and have some fun. And nobody came, and nobody saw, and nobody bought, and the Harley coat of arms was born. It looks like this. Everybody's blaming somebody, but most people are blaming marketing. Thank you so very much. Ain't that always the way? Sales are down, blame marketing. Sales are up, it's always because the product's good. You'll see that if you haven't, trust me. We start talking to our dealers. What's going on here? We're sending you the best stuff we've ever sent, and you can't sell it. Imagine how they enjoy hearing that come from us. Aren't you telling people about the quality? They go, of course we're telling them about the quality. Aren't you telling them about the reliability? Of course we're telling them about the reliability. Aren't you telling them that the toughest critics in the industry said these are the bikes to own? Of course we are, you jackass. So why are people buying? I said, because we're telling them about quality, we're telling them about reliability, we're talking about all the stuff. And I said, that just gets you in the game. We expect you to have all that stuff. We don't expect to have to pay more to get it. How do you justify the price? Wow, wow. We hadn't thought about that. we just assumed they'd want to buy it immediately. The only people that were buying our motorcycles that year were the tried and true Harley guys, the guy you can see in your mind's eye right now. Picture it before it became socially acceptable, before your dentist had one. This thing, World War II, Korean War, or Vietnam era veteran with a black t-shirt on that says, "I'd rather see my sister in a whorehouse than my brother on a Honda." Well, you don't remember those? Feel free to use that in your own marketing materials. It does tend to gather a lot of attention. All right. So now everybody's back again, small, smoky room up in Milwaukee. Says, "Good God, we failed." Every major media outlet in the country printed our obituary. They're done. They can't compete against this low-priced stuff from Japan. They pandered to outlaws. They were essentially a tasteless company. The insurance lobby in Washington, D.C. was trying to legislate out of business. They figured, now's our chance. Let's kill this thing once and for all. Motorcycles, dangerous, et cetera, et cetera. So we start to kind of rally the forces and say, uh-oh, we need to change the way we sell our product, because we thought, remember what I said before, we were dumb enough to believe that we were in business to sell a product. So if we can figure out a new way to sell our product, we can save our jobs. So, well, how are motorcycles sold? Another one of our 20-minute SWOT analyses, I guess, plural. How are motorcycles sold? Motorcycles are sold the exact same way that cars are, but with one big difference. Did anybody in this room ever buy a brand new car without test driving it first? Who would do that? Right? A moron would do that. That's not what we do. I'm not going to spend all that money on something new without driving it first to make sure it fits, looks good, etc. That's just the way the world works. Motorcycle industry, there was no such thing as a test drive. Couldn't test drive a brand new BMW, Honda, anybody. Impossible to enter a dealership, get on a brand new bike, and take one for a ride. Why not? What are people afraid of? Oh, exactly. He's going to take it out, he's going to crash, he's going to sue us, and the whole house of cards is going to come tumbling down. Liability. Ooh. So we started looking at this thinking, well, shoot, we're $250 million in debt. We have no cash. All of our dealers are suing us. Our union is suing us. The insurance lobby is trying to put us out of business. Sue us. We ain't got nothing. A whole different kind of risk management. So we looked and said, well, you know what? Anytime somebody rides one of our new motorcycles, they think it's absolutely brilliant. Look what these guys thought. We got to stick as many rear ends on saddles of our product as we possibly can. Let's look at our marketing budget. We're advertising. Oh, it's so difficult to measure the effectiveness of advertising. No, it's not. When you're not selling anything, it's really easy to measure the effectiveness of advertising. So we take 100% of our marketing budget, every single dollar, which wasn't much because, we were leveraged to death anyway, at least 2 semi-trucks. Loaded each one up with motorcycles, sent one east out of Milwaukee, one west out of Milwaukee. Said, what we're going to do is allow anybody healthy enough to get on one of our bikes and take one for a ride, to take one for a 15-mile ride. Pull into Detroit, Cleveland, your traditional blue-collar, metal-bending, pro NASCAR type of places, before NASCAR was cool. Unload the truck, set up a course, 15 miles through the countryside, and allow anybody that wanted to take one for a ride, ride one. You guys would roll up, they'd pull open their wallet, they'd pull up their motorcycle license, or virtually anything in their wallet that looked kind of important. Swing a leg over, they go for a ride and come back. Now we're about to make some accidental discoveries. Because the employee volunteers that are out working with these trucks begin talking. We're talking about what are we seeing, what are we hearing. And just purely from an observational standpoint, we noticed that everybody, when they would swing a leg off a motorcycle, would do exactly what this guy in the black helmet was doing. Swing the leg off and look directly at the employee volunteer. It's pretty obvious why he's looking at the employee volunteer. He obviously expects the employee volunteer is going to say something. But unfortunately, because there's always a lot of noise, a lot of chaos, long lines of people wanting to ride bikes, the only thing the employee volunteer would say is what our boy Scotty here is about to say. Next. Where do you think this guy's chin goes? Chin is down. He walks. It's not the end of the world. He's not going to go commit suicide. He's just been rejected. Head down, walks away. So, scratch, scratch, scratch. We start looking. Well, everybody's doing this. People are looking at us, waiting for us to say something. What would happen if we, connect the dots, said something? But what should we say? What should we say that's going to be meaningful, given that there's all this noise and we don't have a whole lot of time because there's people waiting in line? I know. Let's take advantage of this opportunity to gather some market intelligence. do a little market research, end quote. We obviously were a market-driven company. We'll ask everybody the same question.